Hello. Today it's 4:59 p.m. Wednesday, December 19th, 2012. My last video was a little bit and I'm feeling much better. There's a lot that I want to talk about. So in regards to my case with Seabright, New Jersey, I submitted the documentation 2 days ago to the Superior Court of County of the Monmouth County, and there's a challenge with that because, well, according to the instructions, I was supposed to send that one particular form to the municipal attorney, and I went to the municipal attorney's law office because he works as he has like a law firm, and I guess part-time he represents the borough. It's a very small town in New Jersey, so that makes sense. So he's there part-time when they need him, and he refused to take it. So I ended up just sending that form to the local prosecutor, and despite it not leaving me that instruction, because it's quite strange, these instructions that I was supposed to follow were provided for this by the state of New Jersey to people like me, self-litigants, I guess. I'm representing myself in this particular case, and even at the clerk, the people, the employees at the Superior Court, where you have to just do it to the local prosecutor, which is quite strange because that's not what the state law, or in terms of, this is not what the guidelines were that were provided on behalf of the state for the residents of the state. So it kind of just makes me feel really well. It just says that there's there's a disconnect between the state and the county and the local. Like, in terms of the court system, it's all messed up. My argument that I'm going to be going with to the court, I'm going to be, obviously be prepared this time. I'm going to be using the case that this is a violation of my 8th Amendment right from the Bill of Rights, which talks about you cannot do a punishment on a person that's cruel or unusual. In this case, it's cruel and unusual. $1,000 for what? For being in the wrong street. That's quite excessive. So that's going to be my whole argument around that. I started looking into it a little bit. The last case, there are some principles that the United States Supreme Court set forth, guidelines, so to speak, when, I guess, people or anybody uses or claims that their 8th Amendment was violated or it's being infringed on. And talks about the punishment cannot be there's 4 principles. I don't have the whole thing memorized. I'm not a constitutional scholar yet. It's a little complicated. So that's with that. There was a shooting in Connecticut, I believe in the town of Sandy Hook. I think that's the name of the town. And every time these types of things happen, you see the worst of people come out. Nonsense. It's a tragedy that it happened. But it's such a difficult. I mean, I don't. I mean, the only way you can really begin to address that and minimize the amount of times this happens is when you kind of bring absolute reform to the government, because there's no small fix to this. This is a very, very big problem, and it's a problem that is a small piece of a bigger problem in our society, is where there's a disconnect between government and people, and there's just so much division and so much, I guess, there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of intolerance, there's a lot of indifference, there's no respect for anybody. You're on your own, and there it is. I got mine, you go get yours. Not absolute, but the people who commit these crimes, they're they're not, I don't think they're bad people. They're just troubled people. They have problems, and it's unfortunate that they lack the proper outlet or the proper coping, internal coping mechanism to deal with problems that arise. Certainly we all have felt at some point or another, I would think, where it's you versus everybody, kind of in a situation where you find yourself maybe sometimes being. Well, I don't know if that makes sense, or I don't know if I said that correctly. But basically, there's really no law. You can't just pass a law and something like this will just go away. Somebody said something very interesting. I was reading the comments, and someone said something, criminals don't care about law. You make a law, whatever law you want to do. Criminals are gonna go, whatever. I don't care. That's why they're criminals. And the mentally ill, they don't understand it. They usually make it's quite it's quite a challenge here. It's not a situation here with law or with some sort of policy on guns or a policy on mental illness. It's just about respecting people, and I mean, I was just thinking in my back of my head about this yesterday. How would you solve a problem like this? Well, what can you do? Well, in every school you can put 5-10 psychologists that anybody at any point can go, and how much money is that going to cost? Who's going to pay for it? Not everybody goes to public school. Should you make it do it for private schools as well? Make it for every single school? Then what happens when you're out of school? Where you're supposed to go? Because in regards to if you don't have the resources to take care of yourself, financial resources, and then maybe some solid type of person that could help navigate you and through all the various even if you don't have the financial resources for you to navigate through whatever nonsense the welfare system exists, it's doubtful if you're gonna find any help or any. It's all a mess, basically. I mean, you don't know where to. I don't even know where to properly start looking for the solution here. It's just the society is really fucked up here, and that's not here but everywhere. Maybe the problem is, maybe it's part of the problem of there just being the wrong type of people in government that don't do what, or don't seem to follow an ideal. They don't live an ideal. They just do some nonsense. Not necessarily that they're all bad people. No. But just they're working with a broken system. But really, I mean, there really isn't a way where you can, unless everybody's those solutions. No one's ever allowed to leave their home. You'd be very, very safe. If somebody truly wants to commit some harm or do something very, very bad, there really isn't anything to stop them, because it's the person's will. And especially living in a society where we have civil rights, I mean, basically it's going to come down to maybe sacrificing liberty for more safety. And Because the way I'm looking at it, I'm trying to factor in systematically. Like, I'm just looking at this, I'm picturing the state of New Jersey in my head right now. We got what 10 million people here. How many counties do we have? I think we have 13, 23 counties, and we have all these different towns, all these little communities um, that are not very perfect. And then you have the federal government that oversees 50 different states. There might not even be enough human resources to physically put 5-10 psychologists for every school, so children can grow up with this idea that anytime they have a problem, anytime they need to talk to somebody, there exists a neutral person specifically designed that only exists to be a neutral arbitrator in a student's, a child's life. But then there comes another problem with the parents, because there could be some problems and issues that arises that, because who are you to tell me that my child needs to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist? I do. So you have parents. They have their own rights and they have their own interests, how they want to raise their child based on their own beliefs. Because the only real way to eliminate this type of thing is if every single human being was identical to one another. And you can't have that. And you can't have that because then there's going to be no invention. There's going to be no creativity. There's going to be no curiosity, and there's going to be no wonderment, and there's going to be no progress in society whatsoever. It's just going to be stagnant. It's through the mashing of different ideas and different beliefs and the mixing of it that society grows. It grows from itself. Today, for instance, I learned something about the Jews and the Muslims. I bought a sandwich for some workers, and they turned out to be Muslim. And after a while, I came back to do something. One of them asked me, was there pork in that sandwich? And I was thinking to myself, pork? What's pork? I don't know what pork is. Maybe. No, I don't think so. No, it was turkey, ham, and Swiss cheese. And I was thinking, maybe ham could be pork. So I looked up on my phone and I realized that out of pork, pig. Pork comes out of pig, and ham comes out of pork. So apparently ham is pork. I didn't really know that. Never really understood that. No one ever told me that. I never really even wondered about that or been curious about that. I usually eat all types of meats. So I learned that you cannot, basically a Jew or a Muslim can't eat ham or pork, because ham is pork. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's their beliefs. I mean, there is something we can do in regards to these types of cases, but I mean, just simply being aware that people have mental illness and we can't be rude or mean to everybody we see. We can be respectful, but then, to tell a person he must go or she must go out of their way to appease or appeal or to make somebody else feel comfortable or etc. It's a waste of their time. I mean, I have my own rights and I have my own way of doing things, and so does everybody else. And millions and millions of people, billions of people have their own ways of doing everything else. We can make government more. Well, we can make government almost perfect to accept everyone. Maybe that's the solution to the problem. I was thinking about just to change topic here. What is government? I mean, what do I expect of government? Because I believe in downsizing government. I don't want a big government. I don't think it's a good idea. People should just live their own lives and do whatever they want to do, however way they want to do it, as long as it is by some type of rule that every single person must abide by. And basically, what I expect and what I want from government to just do one simple thing: to create rules and to manage these rules, and that's it. And when people decide to come up with, you know what, this is not a good rule anymore, let's change it. Okay, well, it gets changed, and that's pretty much it. Um, and beyond that, I think people themselves should be doing all these sorts of things. This is a problem for people to solve among themselves. Um, we can't burden government to do something like this. Um, because it's you can burden government if you want to be building a bigger government. Huh. I've been thinking about this idea. I'll write it on a piece of paper. So let's say, for argument's sake, right here is a circle and it's people, and let's say for argument's sake this is Earth. Now, where do you want government to be? Do you want government to be here, outside of Earth, or underneath people? So, do you want government to be above you, or should government be beneath you? Now, when it's beneath you, government can never get powerful. It could never take over, as it seems like government has taken over. You don't have, or I don't feel like I have any power. I feel like government has more power than me. And as a citizen, that's a problem, because government's never supposed to be powerful or too big to eliminate. And it is too big to eliminate. It's actually a problem to eliminate government if anybody ever so decided to do something like that. Or if the people wanted to do something like that, it would almost be impossible, because it would be you, the people, versus everybody that's employed by government. And government employs many people, because their jobs are going to be on the line. When we talk about, downsizing government or eliminating a lot of government, people are going to be losing their jobs. But government is not a charity. It's a serious thing, and it's supposed to be a serious thing. Just hold on a second. Today is going to be a freeholder, Bergen County freeholder meeting that I'm going to be going to. This time, though, I don't think I'm going to be leaving till I say what I need to say to them. Which is basically, I'm going to suggest to them. This is a difficult thing, especially here. I was thinking, there really isn't a purpose to have a local government, a county government, a state government, federal government. It'd be much simpler. Life would be much simpler if we only had one form of government. or one simple government, or maybe two governments, a state government or a federal government. It just becomes so complicated. You don't need to make it complicated. And I don't think that we're ready in America. American society is ready for such an idea. That's what sucks about it. But as something a little bit more practical and a little bit realistic, I want them to um, basically, you see here, this is the, there's a lot of pages here. Whatever, let's just say there's 50 pages here. I need to ask them if they could sit there, lock themselves in that room, and go over every single dollar, go over every single penny, and make sure that there's no fraud. Somebody's not just getting this money for the hell of it as a favor because they worked on a political campaign or they're a friend or a family member. We need everybody to be working at 100% productivity, or at least aiming at 100%. Somewhere in there as well, I would like to, 1 second. This is actually pretty interesting. You see, this is the American flag. Each of these little stars represents a state. So there's 50 states. And each of these red and white, there's a total of 13. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 red and 6 red, 7 red stripes and 6 white stripes. Now, this is a representation of the first 13 colonies. New Jersey was one of the 13 colonies. New Jersey was the third state in the Union at the time to ratify the United States Constitution, and it was also the first state in the Union to ratify the Bill of Rights. By that historical, just the fact that New Jersey was the first state to ratify the Bill of Rights, that makes me think that New Jersey would be a role model for 49 other states in regards to civil liberties and freedom, and in regards to civil rights and liberty. Liberty comes from having civil rights. But we've gone so far from this idea, or at least American people have gone so far, because I'm new here. It seems like American people have gone very far from whatever this used to be. Or maybe we were always like, maybe we were always like this. Makes my future very bleak and very uncertain. Even though the only certainty in life is that you'll die, everything else is subject to negotiation. But there should be some strong confidence on something certain. I have a lot of comments to answer on my YouTube. Adios. I also been thinking about, well, I'm still trying to understand. I've been doing a lot of thinking, just just asking a lot of different questions in my mind and attempting to dissect some things. Like for instance, I went to Superior Court of Monmouth County, and I was waiting for an employee there to assist me, and she was on the phone, and then she goes, "Hold on, I have to call you back. There's a customer here." And it's so frustrating that a government has transitioned. This government has transitioned into referring to citizens as customers and clients. I mean, you called the IRS, and they're going to be talking about they're going to be using the word customer. This is a federal agency to collect taxpayer money. They refer to me as a customer. Well, I would not. If that's the case, then I don't want this. I want to return this. Can I get a refund if I'm a customer? Or customer's always right. There's no arguing about that. A customer, if you start a business or you have a business, the idea is you're never supposed to make the customer frustrated, or you have to get on your knees to every single customer, basically, because there's no winning to that. It's your business. You need people to buy your stuff or buy your service. And if they don't know what the hell they're buying or why they're buying it, you're not going to have a very successful business. All right, adios.